Hey everyone, welcome to my drawing stream. I'm Sarah. Today we are going to be drawing lily pads. So I've got a couple of supplies here. Let me move some stuff out of the way. I was doing some watercolor painting before, so I've got some water there. So excuse that mess. All right, let me just adjust this so you can see. Okay, so I've got a couple of things here that I want to talk to you about. Excuse me. I've got drawing paper, which I use 9 by 12, and I like Strathmore. They're like a pretty good brand. Hey Crixano, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me today. What I'm talking about is I've got a pad of drawing paper. Now I have this art set, Gioconda. It's by Koh-i-Noor. It's the brand. I like it because it's got sepia tones in it. It's got graphite, lead, and charcoal. And then it's got those exact same things in the stick form. It's got a kneaded eraser, which means you can kind of like mold it, you know, and do fun things with it. And then it's got a spreader. Now, you don't need this fancy set. You can actually use a number 2 pencil, is fine. But one thing to keep in mind is that a number 2 pencil is an HB, is the type of pencil that it is. I keep wanting to say setting. I'm not on a computer, so I need to. I'm doing traditional art now. The type of pencil that a number 2 is HB. It is directly in the middle of the H line and the B line. B is for bold, which means the higher the number you go, the darker it gets, and it actually gets softer as well. H is for hard, and so it gets lighter the higher you go and more shiny, and also harder. So like if you go to like an 8H, then you will it could actually like tear through your paper if you use it using too thin of paper. So keep that in mind when you're, choosing what pencils to use. I usually use, most of these are in the B range. So they start at 2B and go up. So just like I said, keep in mind, this is right in the middle of those. Okay. A pencil sharpener is handy. I like to use pencil sharpeners from beauty supply stores. I think I got this at Sally's. And I like to have a backup eraser, rubber eraser, because this kneaded eraser is great, but if you need to erase a really solid line, this is the best one. Just any kind of rubber eraser. Here, I've got another kind here. All right. You can use a number 2 pencil, and just a sheet of copy paper is fine. I'm going to use, I'm not entirely sure why I put this away. Now, I'm just going to let you know, I don't have a really cute cat like Schwa does, so there won't be any cat cam. So sorry. But we've got something better, because we're going to be quite occupied with drawing. All right. So here's the thing. If you want to check out the reference drawing, because I highly recommend that you look at a drawing while you're doing it. Like, you have something to look at, not just look at what I'm drawing. You can go to, if you look right here, hold on, somewhere, okay, there we go. Sorry, my visual spatial skills weren't doing great today, apparently. Look, right here is the address for my Discord server. Also, if you look down at the bottom of the page, like farther down, there's a button that says Discord, and that will take you, that is an invite to my Discord server. On that server, there is here, I'll just bring it up and show you. How about that? Okay. Nope, you guys can't see it. Hang on. There we go. Okay, So on this server, you can see there's Just Chatting, there's Art Crit. This is where we post paintings and drawings that we've done. You can see Crixano right here posted a really amazing acrylic painting that he did. So excellent job. So this is where we do kind of our critique of each other's work. And that's where you can upload. If you follow today's drawing, you can upload that and we can talk about it. Also, I've got reference photos here. So, oh, and it's not showing. But anyway, it's the one down here, the lily pads. Okay, so that's what, oh, sorry guys. I'm having trouble today. As you can see. That is what the reference photo that we're going to be doing today is lily pads. So if you want to go out there, I always have all of the reference photos, like whatever day we're going to be doing. I post the reference photo earlier in the day. So you can always go out there, pull that up, and be looking at that while we're doing the drawing. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, we're going to start. I'm starting with a 2B. Again, you can use a number 2 pencil, but I'm going to start with a 2B. And I'm going to start drawing some lily pads. All right, let me see. Let me adjust my camera. I did a yoga stream last night, which Crixano was there. Thank you for coming to my yoga stream. I had to move my camera, so it's funky. That's why I'm having problems with it. Okay, so we're going to draw some general circles for lily pads. Let's see. So I'm going to draw like kind of a big one down here in the corner, and I'm going to make it go off the page a little bit. That just creates some interest. Here, I'll hold this up. That line is pretty light. But I have it going off the page. Let's see. I'm going to do another little one. Okay. It's going blurry. But I'm doing like a little one down here in the corner. I'll get my camera corrected. I'm going to probably get another camera for the purposes of yoga stream. So, okay. I'm going to do some overlapping here too. So I've got one here. And these are more like ovals. Well, okay. So let me show you a trick to drawing lines and circles. The key is not to move your wrist, but to move your entire arm. You can actually get straighter lines by moving your entire arm, or like if you want to draw a circle. If you move your wrist, you're more likely to not be able to do it. So try that. Try moving your entire arm. Okay. What else do we have? We've got another one coming off the side here. I'm just doing, like I said, these are more ovals than anything else. So actually that's helpful too, that these are ovals. Welcome if you just joined. We're just starting by doing some ovals. That's all we're doing so far. We haven't done anything else, just ovals. So we're just doing some different ovals to be our lily pads. Don't forget to pull up the reference photo, which is on my Discord server. There's a whole channel just for the reference photos. Now, as you get farther away, your lily pads are going to get smaller. Let's see. And I'll have like a little guy over here. Let's see. I'm going to do a little guy here too. I like doing ones that go off the page. I feel like that's more visually interesting. So it's helpful to do that. And these ones down here are not as dark. So I apologize if you can't see those very well. Now, in one of these, I'm picking this middle one here. I'm going to actually do a second circle inside of it. This is going to be our flower. Now we're going to go ahead and add the stamen. Now the stamen are just going to be little, let me see if I have some scrap paper where I can just show you guys. Hang on. Okay, scrap paper. So I'm going to draw this big, but we're going to actually do these small. So let's say this is that center circle there, that little circle. We're going to be doing like that, like those shapes. But of course it's a much smaller circle. So we're going to be doing just overlapping each other. So like that. But I wanted you to see the shape that we're doing here. So these like little mini mountains. I always think of those mountains in, I can't remember the name of the range, but it's in Kunlun or Kunlun in China. They have these mountains that just look like peaks that go straight up just like that. Kunlun, I think, maybe. I feel like it begins with a K. I don't know. My Chinese geography isn't really what it used to be. I'm just kidding. My Chinese geography has never been great. I mean, my American geography is okay. Better than some people I know, actually. So I'm just we're doing all these little stamen. Do. Now the stamen are the male parts of the flower. If you remember when we did our flower study back in February, I believe it was, I was getting myself rather confused about the different parts of the flower. And I remembered stamen because they stay men, right? Men. It's got the word men in it. So that's how I remember that that's the male part of the flower. And the pistil is the female because we're shooting our pistols. Okay. So I just filled this in. I'm going to hold this up so you can see closer. So see, it looks like this really weird alien mountain landscape. That's what it looks like to me. If you're just joining the stream, we've done some ovals, some big ovals, gradually getting smaller as we go back. And then in one of the ovals in the middle, we drew a second smaller oval, and we did these tiny little like mountain range type things. Here's like a bigger version of that I did on scrap paper. These are the stamen for our flower that we're doing. All right, I'm gonna take a little drink of water. I'm gonna let you guys catch up a little bit. How's everybody doing tonight? It's Friday night, you know? I think, I guess nobody really does anything fun anymore since we're all, you know, quarantined and whatnot. It's kind of interesting to think about the fact that everyone around the world has the same problems right now. We're all feeling lack of motivation and depression and anxiety and, you know, everybody is dealing with it differently, of course, but we're all feeling rather cooped up. And I think it's interesting. I think it's very interesting that the entire world, you know, is having problems right now. Psychological problems. So, you know, we're all in this together. Yesterday was actually my birthday, and so normally I would have gone out and probably be feeling pretty interesting today. But of course I didn't. I did a yoga stream instead, so that was pretty fun. You can check that out in my VODs. But it was nice. It was very relaxing. I thought, I want to do something relaxing. I want to do something that helps other people, so that's what I did. All right, I'm going to start drawing petals. All right, so we're going to be doing some, starting in the center, we're going to be doing some overlapping, generally triangle shapes that are just a little bit rounded on the edges. So, like that. And they're going to be overlapping each other. Now let's see, I'm going to use my eraser so that you can see these triangle shapes really well. Remember, blow, don't wipe, especially if you are using a 2B pencil, because it smears more than a number 2 pencil. Now they get, as the petals kind of go to the sides, they're going to get narrower, so more like ovals than triangles. Let's see, what do I want to do here? And then, of course, the ones in the back are just going to be kind of little bumps. Like that. I'm going to erase out. So you can see it kind of looks like a birthday cake. Maybe I'm just saying that because it was my birthday. I don't know. It does look like a birthday cake to me, though. All right, so that's the petals that go around. Now we're going to do a second row. I'm going to start with the oval ones. And then they'll get more pointy in the back. I'm not going to do the ones in the front next, because I'm going to show you what we're going to do with those. We will do one more row. I'm going to do kind of in the middle of these. And I'm going to let them start to get kind of pointy, because our petals on the outside are going to be bigger. Apologize for letting that sentence hang for a little while. Remember to make them kind of pointy. They're getting bigger. All right, now let's do the ones in the front. So the ones in the front are going to be kind of weirdly elongated. So we're going to have, it's like a triangle, but it's going to be a really broad triangle with like a rounded bottom. And I'll do another like kind of long one there. Maybe do a couple that come out. All right. So that's going to be our flower. So pretty. You can always add more petals if you want. You don't have to leave it like that. Okay. Now we're going to actually start drawing our shapes inside the lily pads. So they have this kind of radial, like it radiates out from the center. So we're going to start with a little spot. I'm just picking one of mine. Doesn't matter, just pick one. Starting with like a little dot in the middle. And then it's going to kind of look a little like a clock. But a clock with quadrant shapes. Like that. it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sure in nature it's not perfect. So we're just going to keep doing that. Doesn't matter how many, I said quadrant, which implies 4, but it really actually doesn't matter because obviously I have more than 4 there. See, this one has 6, this one only has 5. So it doesn't matter. Because we're going to be doing more lines on the insides of these. Now this one is overlapping. Now notice I didn't erase this line here. I'm going to actually do something fun. I'm going to erase. It's going to look like this lily pad is going over this one. So I erased, let me make these darker so you can see. So I erased this line here and this line here. Now, my little guy down here in the corner, you can't see the dot. The dot's somewhere here. So we're just going to pretend like it's somewhere thereabouts. Same thing here. You can't see the dot. So you just kind of add some lines. All right. This one, the dot's here. Now, this one back here, I'm going to let it be overlapping like that. And let's see. Actually, I think this flower was supposed to be by itself and not on the lily pads. Well, you know, I made mine a little bit smaller. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm erasing this circle because it's way too circular. And I'm going to, at the same time, erase my circle around the flower. I made my flower a little bit small. So, compared to the reference photo, I mean, if somebody's looking at this, they're not going to be like, that flower is too small. Because, I mean, you know, how do they know? So, I'm just going to reinvent this. I know I just wiped that, but there was nothing there. So, I want this lily pad here to be running into this flower. So, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it happen. Make it happen. Okay, so here's my lily pad center. I'm going to redraw that. All right, now these guys back here. See, Crixano, I'm not that great at drawing circles either, because that one was pretty bad in the back. And then this guy. There. We've got some shapes. We've got some shapes. Okay. So if everybody's caught up, we're going to start doing we're going to block out some areas for shadows. Okay. So first I'm going to start with the flower here. And I'm going to just mimic the shapes right behind where they are of shadows. So I'm just using my 2B pencil, or your number 2 pencil if that's what you're using. I'm putting it, see this one, it matches up with that. So I'm putting it right behind it and then coloring it in, shading it in. I've had this problem before. I think I decided to just live with the fact that I say coloring, even though we're really shading. There's a shadow here of this one. And in fact, this guy, oops. So I'm using my kneaded eraser and I just made it into a point, and I'm just going to take out some of these little extra lines you can see in there. There we go. Kneaded erasers don't make quite as many little bits, eraser bits. Let's see, where else? We've got some shadow here. There's not shadow here because this is going to be water, but there is some right here on this lily pad. There's a little bit of shadow there from this petal here. Where else? Where else? We'll do some shadow here. I'm just blocking it out. Probably generally on each one there's going to be a little bit of a shadow. And we'll do some on the inside too. We're just generally outlining the inside petals. Just basically on one side, pick a side and then line that side and just basically make it a little thicker. And then we'll go to the back. We'll line the opposite side. So I guess I picked my light source to be coming, I'm not sure actually. I guess it would be coming from here. It's hard to tell with this. I don't know if this reference photo picked a good light source. So I'm trying to use the reference photo for this. Oh, Flex Streamer, hi, welcome. So what we've done so far is we've drawn some ovals. We did little, like kind of clock type hands coming from the middle in all of them. We drew a flower by doing little bumps in the middle of a circle like that, little bumps. Those are the stamen. And then we did petals going around. If you are just joining, you can always just do the lily pads and not the flower. Right now what we're doing is going in and shading the flower. So I'm just looking to see if there's anywhere else. So there'll be a little bit of shading right at the edge here where it meets the stamen. Like the stamen will give just a little bit of shadow. There. Now, you can take your spreader. If you don't have a spreader, you can always take a piece of paper. Here. Take a piece of paper and crumple it up. Make kind of a point out of it. And you've got a little spreader there that you can move around. Okay. And you can see that it's working because it actually is getting a little bit on there. And you can take your spreader, you can actually come in and just come around with the right over those shadows that we just did. It's going to blend them a little bit, make them less harsh. You can go a little bit outside of that, and that'll make the shadow fade into the background a little. Doing your own thing along with us, working on, oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. It's nice to have you hanging out with us today, doing art. Okay. Oh, I forgot these. I forgot these. Okay. I will tell you this. I bet that your flower doesn't look nearly as bad as you think it does. Let's just keep moving forward. I bet you it actually looks pretty good because your acrylic painting was excellent. So I have a feeling you're probably being harder on yourself, which is a typical artist thing. It's what we do, right? You know, we're very hard on ourselves, and everybody else is looking at our artwork and going, holy moly, I wish I could draw like that, or I wish I could paint like that. And we're sitting here saying that it looks terrible. But the reason that is because we know our vision. We know what we were going for, and that whatever it is not it. Whereas the person looking at it, they're coming into it without expectations. So one of the things I've found is not to judge my art until I'm done, and then I get up, walk away, and then come back. And usually it looks better to you because your expectations have changed. So we'll wait till the very end to do that, to actually start critiquing our work. Okay, there's going to be some shadow in here. So I might actually just use my spreader, but if you don't have a spreader, you can come in here and just do some little dark areas. I'm just kind of scribbling a little bit inside, just so that there are some dark areas. I'm just kind of coming into the blank spaces in between my little mountains here, my little Kunlun Mountains. I'm almost positive that's the name of the mountain range, Kunlun. I should know, I used it in a book. I actually used the mountain range in a book, and here I am not being able to remember the name. So, yeah. Okay. I'm going to use my spreader. Like I said, if you don't have one, it's not a problem. You do not have to use a spreader. I'm just coming in. It's nice to have one, though. I will say you can get these for like, I don't know, $1 or something at Walmart. They're not very expensive. And they come in like a 2-pack or something. But these are nice because they, once you get them dirty spreaders are amazing because you can like really do some cool effects with shadows. Okay. We'll leave that. We'll just leave it. We're done. We're done with the flower. Okay. Now, we're going to start doing the shadows in the lily pads. So first things first, we're going to start taking some of those areas that where we did our little, I keep wanting to say unit circle, but there's not 12 sections, so it's not really a unit circle, but and we're going to make them a little wider and shade them in. And you can give it like a kind of a funky line, like it can be more of an organic line. Not, here, I'll hold this up so you can see. So see, I just kind of like let it squiggle a little bit rather than being just a solid straight line. Let's see. Just doing a few here or there, because this is what we're doing now is where the lily pad is open, where it opens up, and it doesn't open up on all of the lines. So some of these lines are just going to be dark areas. Now this one, obviously, this is the opening here. This one actually is going to have a shadow that comes around the outside because it is laying over this other lily pad. This one has like a lot of cuts in it. I don't actually know what causes those cuts in lily pads. I don't know if that's just how they're, if these are kind of like petal type appendages of a lily pad or what. I don't know. I don't know enough about lily pads. I should find out before tomorrow, because tomorrow we're doing lily pads too, but watercolor. The only thing is I don't think we have these lines in them. Maybe. I don't remember. I've done that one before, but I don't remember. You can do like a cutout. Like there's like a little bit of the lily pad came out there. Maybe some kind of bug got to it. That's what I like to think, that some bug got a delicious lily pad meal. That's what I'm hoping. Now the ones in the back aren't going to be very wide because we're not close to them, so we won't see them. We won't see, so they're not going to be quite as wide as the ones in the front. Although the ones that I just did look sort of just as wide. So, you know. This guy here really needs to be more, he goes off my page. And I think that's why he's funky shaped. My page stops right about here, so I'm gonna the lily pads in the back just got no love for me. They are rough. Alright, let's see. Oh, we've got this guy in the front. Now, the ones in the front, we want our edges to be kind of frilly, because these are the ones we can see the most of. So these are the ones where we're going to actually, oop, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Down here, where we want it to have like a frilly edge. And erase any lines that you need to. Now this guy is over, so we're going to give him a little bit of a shadow, but just to about here. Although ultimately it's not going to matter because we're going to actually, oops, excuse me, we're going to be doing the water, which is very dark. I guess this guy can be a little bit frilly too, because he's in the front. All the ones in the front are going to get a lot of attention from us. Making it frilly. More than anything, it's just having like kind of a natural edge. So just like let your edge not be so straight. We just wanted to kind of flow. This guy can be a little frilly too. I'm calling it frilly because that's what it looks like to me when I see lily pads. They look frilly. Like they've got that ruffled edge. Which, if you take my crochet class, you will know, is called a hyperbolic plane. We studied hyperbolic planes in my crochet class, which is on Tuesdays, 2 weeks ago. So, and you see hyperbolic planes all over the place in nature. You see it in like that fungi, the little that grows on trees, you know, that looks kind of frilly. You see it in lettuce, like the edges of lettuce. But like what that means is that it's a negative curve. It's exponential. So it grows inside itself. It like starts to frill. It starts to actually like create little ripples. You know what? I'm gonna make these in the back here not as straight either. I don't know. I don't want any straight lily pads. We're not a fan of the straight lily pads. I would make a joke about that, except for this is a kid-friendly stream. So we'll just say that there's double entendre there. Okay. Welcome if you just joined the stream. We're just drawing lily pads. That's what we're doing. Fun with lily pads today. Now when we go to draw our water, we can kind of start having more fun with our lily pads. All right. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I'm going to just do some general. I'm just doing some kind of, I'm going to start doing these lines here. And they're all different. Noticed that I'm not doing any of them like these, the clock hands that we did before. I'm just doing them like little scribbles. And some are going to like be disconnected. Some will go all the way. Maybe some are only at the edge. This guy here, he is really split open there. I don't know how I missed that, but I did. So and you can erase some of the lines. You don't have to keep all the ones that you did before. Absolutely not. You can erase some and, you know, redraw whatever lines you had in a different place. However you want to do it. All right, so you see what I've done with this first one. I just kind of scribbled in some areas. Now I'm going to do the same with the rest of my lily pads. You can also make some little triangle shapes. Not, you know, like it's folded in, like it gives a shadow where it looks like it's folded a little. And I'm just making this up. I'm barely even looking at the reference photo, to be honest. I'm just making some general, kind of looks like oranges to me, you know, like the inside, like when you cut an orange. That's what it looks like. All right. Everything's going towards the center. Forgot to do the shadow here of that little guy and maybe that guy there too. I'm just gonna spread that there. So Crixano, I don't know if you saw or not. I know you're drawing right now, so you probably aren't going to be typing. But the fishbowl conversation today in Handmade, that was pretty interesting. I thought it was the future of operating systems, like what we think it's gonna look like. Thought it was a very interesting conversation. I wasn't able to read the entire thing because I had a class. I have another art class that I don't teach, I actually take. So I had to get to that. But anyway, if you didn't, go check it out. There's a new channel called Fishbowl. And it's pretty awesome. There was even like a guest that I think doesn't normally come that came and spoke. So just very interesting. Now these guys in the back don't have to be as great because they're basically just, so you can just, oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to adjust this. Here, I'll do this one. Basically, I'm just kind of scribbling over the lines that I already made and maybe do some, you know, but these don't have to be as great because the ones in the front are the ones that are going to be the more interesting. So these are just like generally scribbled in. Not a thing. Oh, and this little guy here. Sorry, little guy. I almost forgot about you. Over there, off the side. Okay. I'm gonna, while you guys are continuing to work, I'm gonna give you just a second. I'm gonna try to raise my camera. Hang on. There we go. That's better. And now I'm turning on the light. I don't like that automatic light. Okay, now you can actually see the whole thing. Excellent. Excellent, darling. Take a sip of water. Always hydrate. In fact, I don't think I'm as hydrated as I should be today. I'm going to get my blending stump. Again, now for this, you could actually use your finger, or like you could use a piece of paper, or like a Kleenex or a paper towel or something would work, because we're doing larger areas. So We're just coming in, just using our blending stump to add some texture. Now I'm just going over these lines because my blending stump happens to already have some dirt on it. So I can just kind of make some marks, and it's adding texture to everything. Now, since you don't probably have that, you'll need to color some areas first. You'll need to actually blend a few areas. Oh, okay. That's good. All right, so you're on a tablet, and that's why you're not typing as much. Well, that is understandable. Thank you for letting me know. So we are just going, and I'm just kind of sometimes just taking my blending stump and just going on the inside in places. I'm not being particularly careful. This is where it's really going to be interesting, is this front, because the front is the part, and like these are the ones we can see. Oh, look, and I missed another like kind of crevice thing here. So I'm just gonna like one of the where it's split. So I'll fill that in, and then continue about my merry way of. It always makes me think, you know, I'm doing this, but it makes this sound. It's like this shh, 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 you know, as it's going. And I like to do things in rhythms because I'm a percussionist, so it's what I do. So I am thinking of the little dog or whatever it was in Alice in Wonderland that has like the sweeping nose and tail, and it goes like that, and it, as it's going, it makes this like little rhythm, and that's what I imagine my spreader. So I kind of go in that same rhythm. I mean, you could pick whatever rhythm you want. That's just the one that I like. We're just spreading the pencil around. Okay. Feel like, oh, I didn't do these ones in the very back. I was like, I feel like I already did some of these, but that's because I started in a rando place. That's what happens when you start rando. Ah, you're a drummer and guitar. Very nice. You know what? I love musical instruments. Just like love them very much. I like listening to people play. I'm also a piano teacher. And eventually, when I get a keyboard, I'll probably teach piano lessons on Twitch too. I'm just going to start teaching everything that I know. Like, if I know it, I'm going to teach it on Twitch. I love to stream, and I like sharing my knowledge with people. So, but yeah, I love listening to people play. And so, like my nephew, you know, sometimes he'll play, he plays piano. I taught him piano when he was very young. And he makes up his own music, which is excellent, except for sometimes it can get annoying to hear someone play the same thing over and over and over again if you're a parent, right? That never gets annoying to me. I like whenever I go over there, I'm like one of those people where it doesn't ever condition itself. Like, you guys know the Baby Shark song that kids love to sing over and over again? Well, that doesn't bother me. I like to sing it, and I will sing it over and over again. That was one example. But same thing with movies. If a kid wants to watch the same, you know, I want to watch Aladdin 50 times or whatever. Okay, whatever. I'll just have the movie memorized. And what I will do now with DVDs, just put it in a different language. You know, have your kid learn a second language by by watching their favorite movie. Done, you know? Make it worthwhile to you as well, where you feel like good as a parent for letting your kid watch whatever movie. I don't even know what's out anymore, but like, they want to watch Frozen 100 times. Let them watch it 100 times. Put that stuff in Spanish. Let them learn some Spanish while they're watching, because they will memorize the movie, so they'll know the Spanish and they'll know what it means. And kids learn a lot faster than we do. The natural method. There you go. So yeah, you got to get creative when it comes to kids, man. Otherwise, they'll drive you nuts. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys just a second to catch up a little bit. Welcome. I think we have some new viewers, but nobody's showing up in chat, so they might not be signed in. But welcome to the stream. We have done some lily pads. We did a flower in the middle. That's what we've done so far. And now we're going to be doing some shading. We're going to do some more shading. Now, I'm going to be using a 6B pencil. If you do not have a set that has a 6B pencil in it, then what you will do is you will take your number 2 pencil and you will just press a little bit harder in these areas. That's going to give you a darker shading. There's a theory about needing a lot of input and output in order to gain fluency in a language. So the natural method tries to give you as much input of the language as possible. So that means you're just taking a lot in, like immersion. Is that what that means? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's probably why immersion schools, I know there was one in Houston. There's a Chinese immersion school that we thought about sending my nephew to, but he went to Montessori instead. But yeah, I think I've heard that those are rather successful. So that would probably, maybe there's something to that theory. It kind of makes sense, right? You think about it, surround yourself with what it is that you want to be, right? So if you want to be an artist, go hang out in galleries, go take art classes, do the things that artists do and you will become an artist. Just surround yourself with whatever it is you want to do, or the people that you want to be like. This is one of the things I tell my clients with personal development is that, make friends with the people that are like what you want to be. So if you want to be wiser and more knowledgeable about the world and current events, things like that, surround yourself with people that are like that and that know this information, and not people that just repeat what their friends say. That is not, no. There are a lot of people out there like that will sound knowledgeable, but they're not actually going out and finding the information. And even if they sometimes do, maybe they just watched a YouTube video or something. It doesn't mean that they actually researched it. Find friends that value primary sources. Just saying. You think it makes sense to some people still like the traditional route of brute force memorization? Well, there is that. There's a little bit of rote learning, especially for young kids. Rote learning can be useful sometimes. The best natural method books for Latin is Lingua Latina per se illustrata, Latin language illustrated by itself. Huh. I like the name of that. It's nice. Okay. I'm going to get back to the lily pads. Hopefully everybody's kind of caught up. So I'm going into these squiggly areas. My 6B pencil is much darker. So we are getting a really nice dark shadow here. Now, like I said, if you are using a number 2 pencil, just press a little bit harder so that you can get a little bit darker. You're not going to get this dark. It's just not possible. But you can get darker. So I'm just coming in. You have a 4B. Yeah, I did say 6B, but 4B is actually good. Here, I'll just use a 4B real quick and show you. that is still darker. See, over here. This is my 4B. So you're still going to get darker if you've got a 4B. So that's fine. Good. That's excellent that you, I know today was your first day joining my stream, but that's great that you have some art pencils. And you know, guys, art pencils aren't really very expensive, especially from a place like Walmart or something like that, or if you have some kind of craft store like a Michael's. A cheap set of pencils, you don't need anything fancy. This set right here, the Koh-i-Noor, is like $35-40 or something. But you don't need that. You don't need anything that fancy. I mean, a 2B is a 2B, right? You know, I don't think that there's. I'm not particularly snobby when it comes to like pencils or things like that. Let's see. Doing some of my shading here at the bottom. Have you ever noticed that I get a little bit distracted when it comes to talking? I'll just like stop in the middle of a sentence. So I apologize for that. You know, it happens. But when it comes to art, this is why, so teaching art is fine and I enjoy it. But I will say, if you get a chance to do stuff like this at home on your own, just remember, just do your shapes, right? You know, so it's not about drawing a lily pad. It's about drawing an oval shape and then doing your clocks and then doing your shadow. You know, you do things in these steps. And so you could totally do this at home on your own. Just look for the basic shapes, you know, look for the circles and the triangles and the rectangles and things in your, whatever it is you're drawing, trees or animals or whatever, faces. So, because art is very meditative, you know, like you can really get into it. I guess my light source is coming from over here because this has like a lot of shadow right there. Okay, let's see. Oh, we had the shadow here. What am I missing? I'm not going to worry too much about the shading in the back. We can leave that light because they're supposed to be kind of fading into the background anyway. We're going to really pay attention to the ones in the front. The ones in the front, they get all the love from us. And I'm just like letting it kind of come out here because this is going to be dark around this area. So I'm just letting it come to the end there. Okay. Let's see. I think that's good. So I'll let you catch up. Take some water. Now, for the next bit, I'm going to use my 6B graphite stick. However, there's a chance you don't have that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your number 2 pencil and you're just going to be filling this in. But we're going to fill in, starting in the back, we're going to start just filling in all the water area. Now, I want you to see the advantage of having a graphite stick, because look at how big I can do. I can do a giant area. Now, this is not very dark yet. Welcome if you're just joining the stream. We are doing lily pads today. And right now we've got our lily pads drawn, we've got our flower drawn, and we are just filling in the water area. Now I'm going to let my water in the back be a little bit lighter. Because when things are distant from us, sometimes they seem darker, but sometimes they seem lighter. And that's because you've got atmospheric perspective going on. And in atmospheric perspective, things in the background tend to look grayer. Grayer and lighter, because they're farther away, so we can't see them as well. I'm trying to keep the same motion. So like if you are using a pencil, you know, try to, like if you're going right to left, keep going right to left. I know that over here I stopped doing that, so that's why I needed to mention it to you, because I realized I wasn't really setting a very good example. So when you get close to a lily pad, just slow down. You want to just slow down. Keep going the same direction, but you're going to slow down so that you don't color in some area that you didn't want to. You can always press a little harder if you need to get it to be a little darker. So see how I'm pressing a little harder? Just making it darker there. This is going to take us a little while. This is the really meditative part. This is why drawing is so worth it. If you're interested in mindfulness, because you can just really like just listening to the sounds that your pencil makes on the paper, focusing on the lines that appear on the paper as you draw them. In fact, I do have a mindfulness stream, which I'll be doing guided meditations. I do yoga on Thursdays, and Tuesdays I do guided meditations. And I will probably be doing a very basic drawing at some point. It won't be anything like this. It's going to be more of a, you know, drawing lines and shapes and things. But drawing is extremely meditative. Well worth it, I think, to do it. Even if it's not good, it doesn't matter. You still get the meditation from it. Do you think that every like Buddhist, like Zen Buddhist monk is a good artist? No, but they still do those really cool sand garden things, right? Because it's not about it being good. It's about, you know, getting something else from it, you know, getting the mindfulness from it. Now, I almost didn't slow down in time, and I almost went right over one of my petals, so I'm glad that I was paying attention. Go ahead and just do one layer without, you don't have to press too hard, because you can always go over it. And when you go over it, that's going to make it darker. So I'm not too worried about it being super dark here in the front, because I do want it much darker than this. You can also use charcoal. If you have charcoal, you're welcome to use that. Crixano, I know that you have some kind of art set there, or you've got some different pencils. So if you have like a charcoal pencil or something like that, then you're welcome to use that for this water area, and that will make it darker much faster. You won't have to do several iterations. But you can actually feel the lines going on the paper. That's very mindful. The idea behind mindfulness is just to really experience, with all of your senses, experience what's happening right now. That's the idea behind mindfulness. So right now, I am drawing, and I can hear the pencil, I can see it, I can feel it, like underneath my fingers. The sensation, you know, of how smooth it is, like the feeling of the pencil. Don't taste your artwork. I would say that generally that's not a good idea. Even if you're a banana on the wall kind of artist, I would still say don't eat the art. But you know what you could be doing? Say you had like a little piece of hard candy or mint or something like that. You could be sucking on that while you're drawing. So you're feeling the sensation of whatever it is that you're eating and tasting that at the same time as doing your drawing. So you could actually work taste into there. You know. There's a way to do everything, you know? All right, so now I'm going over for my second coat, so to speak. This is the last one that I will do for the back. The front may get another application. But I really wanted to clean up my lines in the back where I kind of went in different directions before I... Now, sometimes you can press a little bit harder in areas and you're going to get these kind of like ripple type effect. And that's good. It makes it look like water. We like when our water looks like water. Or really when our picture looks like what it's supposed to be. Man, I'm going to tell you, my thumb is starting to hurt a little bit now. I would imagine it's probably similar with the pencil. Just when you're doing a lot of repetitive work like that, it can start to wear on your muscles. So it's good to take a break every once in a while. So when I finish this section, I like delayed gratification. So I'm going to make myself go until I finish this little area right here. And then I'm going to take a little break. And I'm just going to stretch my hand. Now here's a good way to stretch your hand. You'll notice my hands are kind of dirty. You can take your, I'll point it so you guys can see it. Take your hand and just push it back like that and just hold it. Not until it hurts. You don't want it to hurt. Like if I went there, ooh, that hurts. So I'm just going to there. You don't want it to hurt. So you do that. Then you go the other way. You can take your thumb and just pull it down towards your hand. You can curl your fingers in and out. This is a really good muscle, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it right in there. You do that. You curl them. This is a really nice stretch, especially if you work on a computer a lot. People that work on keyboards and mice are more likely to get carpal tunnel. So these are really good exercises, and you just go back and forth. These are good stretches. And sometimes you can push your fingers down like that. But especially, I'm using my right hand almost entirely, so my left hand doesn't get as cramped, you know. Now, when you're crocheting, both hands can get cramped. But for drawing, it's usually just the right one. But that's good to do. Every once in a while, it's good to stop and just do some little stretches with your hand. That's for anything, honestly. Anything that uses repetitive motion with your hand or your wrist, you can stretch your wrist, like just pull it back. It's very similar to this motion, but because you're doing it here, it pulls on the wrist. You know, you can kind of make a fist and twist it around. That's good. There's like all kinds of really good motions. I bet if you looked it up on the internet, I bet there's people that make all kinds of suggestions for that. You know, find a good reputable website, one that's like maybe a medical type website, and find some exercises that are good for repetitive motion. That's what you want. Repetitive motion in the hand. Okay. Now, I'm getting to the place where I'm going about as far as I can probably go with a 6B. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my charcoal. If you don't have a charcoal, it's quite all right. It's not a problem. Since you used a number 2 pencil, you might actually be okay, and it probably won't look that bad. I want to clean up my lines a little bit. But because I use different pencils, you know, I use like a 6B and a 2B, and, you know, now I'm using a 6B stick, which is a little bit different. It does actually apply differently. Then mine are looking a little wonky. So I either need to press harder, but that's actually starting to hurt quite a bit. So I'm going to actually grab my charcoal. So I've got a little piece here. Look how dark that got really fast. Now with your charcoal, you want to be really careful. If you are using it, when you get to the edges, you can go ahead and outline the edges. It's not going to hurt it. Man, we're doing really good on time. Drawing classes usually aren't as long as painting. So my painting class tomorrow, I think it's probably that one. I've done it before. Usually I can keep those in the 2-hour window. But painting classes can sometimes go over, especially if I've never done the lesson plan before. Like I said, you can outline. All right, now I don't want to go too far back because I don't actually mind this being lighter in the back. So I'm going to do the front area here. Oh, I accidentally did a shadow I didn't mean to do. That's okay. I don't think anybody's going to yell at me for that one little shadow. You wouldn't yell at me for a shadow, would you? Well, or that. Then I just went right over that line. Okay, this is probably farther back than I really wanted to go, but too late. I already did it. So now I've got to keep going with it. So I am going to be taking my charcoal a little bit farther back than I planned. I was going to stop about here, but I accidentally did this area over here. So now we're going farther back. So with charcoal, if you want to lighten up like you're going, you just start lightening your strokes a little bit. And it will start to look a little lighter. Okay. That's probably about enough of that. Now look at my hands. Really, really messy. Okay. Now you can use your blending stump for this, or your finger, and especially since most of us, if you have been using charcoal, your fingers are probably already pretty charcoaly. So I'm coming in and I'm blending. Now the cool thing with your blending stump, if you do have one, you can go right up against the edges and really make them kind of crisp. And that's very nice. Oops. Now there's a trick that I'm going to talk about at the end, and please remind me if I forget, but I'm not going to forget because I've got it sitting right here on my desk. But if you do use charcoal, you need to set the charcoal so that it doesn't smear on like the next page. So I'm going to show you a little way of doing that. You can use expensive spray fixative, or I will show you what I do. And you may already know this trick, so it might not come to us as a surprise to you, but we'll find out after these messages. Just kidding, I don't have any messages. I lost some of my petals here. Let's see if I can make an outline of petals. All right, blend in the back. I'm going inside my flower, like not inside, but just like down into the petals. It helps a little bit. Just kind of clean things up. All right, you want to be cognizant because look at my arm. So one of the things you can do, you can put another piece of paper down or a paper towel. That's not going to, under your arm. That will help. And it won't, believe it or not, it doesn't actually get that much on your paper towel. You have to like really rub at it to get it to get off on the paper towel. Okay, so my back ended up looking darker because I'm blending it. Because when you blend, you've got all these little areas, all these little white areas that you didn't quite reach with your pencil or pen. And it fills all of those in, so it ends up looking darker. Okay. See, you can see not that much came off on my paper towel. I'm going to blend some of these in the back, just kind of making them more gray because they're back in the back there. Come in with some, now that I've got a little bit of charcoal on my blending stump, I can come in and do some interesting right. Okay, sounds good. Man, tea actually sounds pretty nice. I might have to make some tea. Maybe I'll make some chai. I love chai. Okay. Now, we're pretty much done. You can, come in and like what I've been doing is, just coming in and doing like, squiggly lines here or there, and kind of just playing around with your blending stump or your finger or whatever it is that you're blending with. You can do just to give it a little bit more, where it doesn't look quite as choppy. But we're pretty much done. Earl Grey, yeah. Love black tea. Black tea is probably my favorite. And I love Earl Grey because of the bergamot. The bergamot to me smells really nice. It's like probably one of the best smells in the world. Is like a really good, and that's what Earl Grey has in it. Yeah, black tea is awesome. Now, black tea does have a little bit of caffeine in it, which is counterbalanced by the theanine, but it's still caffeine. So I tend to not drink black tea as late. Like usually at night, I'll do like an herbal tea. But I'm really in the mood for some chai now that I've been thinking about it. And chai I make on the stove. And I do use black tea for it. So, But I think I'm going to be up a little bit later today anyway. So it's fine. Tea's not as bad as coffee for drinking late at night. Okay. So I'm done. I'm going to take my 2B pencil. Don't forget to sign your work. Now, here's the thing. I want to talk about this. So, I usually do critiques of my work because this is an important thing for being an artist. And a lot of people that go to art school will find that they gain confidence when they come out of art school. And the reason why is because they have to do critiques. They have to talk about their work in a critical way. They have to talk about their work and talk about themselves, as an artist. So you leave art school with a little bit higher self-esteem than when you went in because of those things. Because being able to talk about yourself in a positive and constructive way is important, and being able to talk about your work, because our artwork we get very attached to. So if you can talk about it, then you actually have a leg up in life on other people because you are learning how to take feedback and constructive criticism. So what I like to do, you're welcome to take a picture and upload it to the Discord channel. And then I'm going to go over and take a look at that. So whenever you're finished, take a picture with your phone or whatever and upload that, and I'll take a look. And you're welcome to post other artwork too. Like, you do not have to just post the piece we did today. We can talk about whatever. Even if you're not completely finished, that's okay, because we can talk about where it is right now. So let me talk about mine. So what I like to do is I like to say one thing that's working well, that's effective, and one thing that is not as effective. When you think about it in terms like that, rather than what I like and don't like. For example, I really like these dark edges, but maybe that's not the most effective part of my piece, right? So liking and not liking something is not really useful information. Whether it's working towards what your end goal was, that's what's useful information. So our goal was to have like some realistic looking lily pads. I would say that overall, I've achieved this. I think what is not as effective is the lines that I have in here. I think I could go in and work those a little bit more, give them a little bit more depth, where it looks like the lily pad's like folding in and out. Cause like, see, when I put my hand like this, you can see shadow there. whereas when it here, you don't see the shadow. So that's what's happening in the lily pad, and that's why we have those lines. So I can go in and work that a little bit more. What I think is really effective, first of all, even though it was a little bit small, I like my flower. I think my flower is pretty effective. I think it looks like a pretty darn good flower. I do actually like my dark areas. I do think that was effective, and especially like my little chunks that got taken out of the edge of the lily pad in places. Go over here. That is probably not only very effective because it makes it look more realistic, the frilly bits, but it's also my favorite part. So it works out that the thing that I like is also the most effective thing. Usually that's how it works out, but just in case it doesn't, like I said, it's good to talk about your work as far as what's working and what's not working rather than what you like and don't like. It's very easy for us to say, oh, I don't like this, or, it's terrible, or, I didn't do this well, I didn't do that well. But if you talk about what's effective or ineffective, that gives you something to build on. Okay, so was anybody able to upload their drawings or whatever it is that you're working on? Because if so, I'm going to pull open Discord, and I don't know why okay. Let's see. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, well, there we go. Okay, so I'm on the reference photos. ArtCrit is where you would upload. Here, this is where you would upload. So this is where, I don't see that anybody's done this. Crixano, were you doing this along with me? Do you want to upload? Look at this painting that Crixano did, guys, while we're here. Look at this. I was telling him, oh, yay, I got one. Okay. Oh, it's sideways. Okay. I was telling him my favorite part, which is also what I think the most effective thing is where the orange and the red meet here. I think that's very nice. Okay, so, oh, and of course, hang on. I'm sorry. Let's see if screen share is any better. There we go. Okay, we're going to do screen share right now because for some reason my Discord is like hiding everything. Okay. So, let's take a look at this. It is not terrible. First of all, okay, I haven't talked to you guys about my rules because these are more pertain to my classroom where I have little kids that take my class, like 8 or 9 years old. But I have 3 rules. My number 1 rule, and they're really more guidelines, but my number 1 rule for being a great artist is clean workspace. Keep your workspace clean at all times, clean as you go. That's the number 1. Number 2 is don't rush. Take your time. It's okay to take your time and not work at it. Now, rule number 2 was more for my ADHD kids, to be fair. But it works for everybody. But rule number 3 is no disparaging the art or the artist, including yourself. So there is no thing saying like it was terrible or it was bad. Constructive criticism only. That is the only kind of critique that we do in this class. So rule number 3 is, and you can't see me, I'm holding up numbers and you can't see me because my camera's not on, but rule number 3 is no disparaging the art or the artist. So, okay, so this is sideways, but let's take a look at this. So what is most effective here? First of all, you kept your direction with your water really even. That's fantastic. You did much better than I did even with that. Where there's actual movement to your water. Like it looks like these lily pads are in moving water. And that's pretty significant. That's actually hard to achieve. So I think that's very effective. I think that the little slits in the lily pad are coming along. I think you could probably go a little bit darker in some of them. Like, let's see. Can you see my mouse? No. There we go. Okay. like right here, this right here, you could darken that up just a little bit. Or, well, you don't have to actually. That doesn't look too bad. Maybe bring the shadow out on the right side here. Like just give it a little bit more shadow there. This is nice. Actually, I like that. Okay. Now your flower, the flower you did pretty small. So you did like me. I kind of got my proportions wrong in the flower. So it's very small. What you could do in this is you could just make your petals bigger. So you could actually erase out some areas here and like do like some big triangle shapes that come out from it. So see, I've got a big triangle shape here and maybe one here. Do some triangle shapes going around it. And that will actually make your flower bigger and give you a little bit of a place to go with your shadow. Okay, I think you did an excellent job. Don't forget to sign your work. All right, so we've got some more pieces. Oh my, Flux. So Flux is working on his own stuff. So here we've got, this looks very like sci-fi, but also kind of steampunky almost. I don't know if that's what you would consider it genre-wise, but that's what it kind of looks like to me. I like it a lot. I like how you've got, I keep saying like, but I think it's very effective that you have these very straight lines here, but then curved lines here. I think they play against each other and make it look very geometric and at the same time organic. Also, your shading here makes it look layered. It's a great job there. Very nice. Let's look at some of these other ones. Wow. So you definitely have kind of a theme going here where there's like these ripples, you know, these ripples that you've got going in here. This is so nice. So these are the last three that you did? I particularly love this kind of spaghetti stuff going on here. Now, did you just do this in layers so it built up to look like this? Or, you know, did you go in with an idea of, oh man, actually this flower over here too. This is great. I actually saw some artwork recently that had a bunch of different textures where if you looked at it from far away, the textures were hard to like you didn't see them, everything blended together. But if you looked at them up close, you could really see each individual pattern that the artist did. It looked like she used a lot of spray paint around different textures and shapes. Very nice. Okay, now this one changes up a little bit. This one has a very both robotic look, and it actually kind of looks like, you know, this looks like some kind of cuneiform. So Crixano here is our resident linguistics expert, you know, so maybe you can tell me, doesn't this look kind of like some kind of language here? On the, I don't know if you can see that, but like these little markings here, I feel like that looks like a language, like the language has been imprinted on this thing that looks a little robotic. Is that what inspired you, Flux? Like to have it look kind of like language? And then this looks like veins. It's hard for me to critique this work just because I don't know exactly what you were going for, but I can tell you what I know for sure is working. These heavy outlines around this is working very well. It's actually giving it a like kind of a stylized look to it, very illustrative. But clearly illustration is your style. Like you do excellent work here. I like this like one eye. Very nice. Well, I like it. I definitely, like I said, it looks like something where it's both ancient and, you know, new. Like it's got a robotic look to it, but it also has like all this like kind of ancient text on it. Very nice. So that was all of the pieces that have been uploaded. Thank you, everyone, for. I'm going to take the screen share off. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Okay, Crixano, sort of looks like an alien-like language, or maybe like a very blocky script. It looked like Egyptian script. Like, yeah, that's what I thought too. Is like kind of that hieroglyphic, cuneiform kind of look. So, very nice, guys, and thank you so much for sharing your work. I really appreciate that. I love to see everybody's artwork. Well, so we are done for tonight. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, that's my time, we are going to be doing lily pads, but watercolor, using organic forms to make robots. Yeah, I got that very much from the drawing, so well done. I mean, you definitely achieved what it was you were trying to achieve, where it looks very organic, but it still has that machine look to it too. I think that's probably why I was thinking steampunk, because that's kind of the idea with steampunk, right? You have this old Victorian look, that like old fashioned, where there's lots of rounded shapes and things like that, but then you also have like this very robotic, mechanical aspect to it as well. So yeah, very nice. Okay, so tomorrow we're doing lily pads with watercolor, and that's it. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for sharing your artwork, and thank you for joining me today. And you guys have a fantastic Friday evening.